This is dopamine. You can't really make your life exciting again without a healthy balance of this molecule in your brain. But I learned in these books by leading scientists that just a detox isn't enough. To truly find a balance, you need the right neuroscience combined with the right psychology. In this video, I'll explain exactly what I mean by that, along with an easy 3-step framework that you can apply immediately. Let's start with the psychological reason you can't stop stimulating yourself that no one talks about. The self help world, with its gurus online, has convinced men that if you feel empty inside and nothing interests you, you need to become better in some way. Earlier, it was through a disciplined life and hustling. But a new viral way to become better is through a dopamine detox. And hence, dopamine becomes yet another way to improve yourself in hopes that it makes you feel good inside. But I believe this entire premise of self help is flawed. Here's why. One of my mentors is Tony Robbins. Ironically enough, the very next thing I talk about after shitting on the self help world is him. But over the last 45 years, he has coached millions of people, and doing that, he noticed an unexpected pattern. People across the globe really have the exact same bunch of psychological problems, be it a banker in New York or a poor farmer in India. For example, both of them might have fear of loneliness. As he kept noticing these patterns repeatedly, he wondered this for years. Why were the problems of people from vastly different socio-economical backgrounds so similar? Which led him to discovering something groundbreaking. He found that every person, irrespective of their upbringing or background, has 6 core emotional needs. Human needs, rather. Needs which must be fulfilled no matter what. When these needs are met, you feel happy and satisfied. When they are not met, you feel dissatisfied. Full stop. So, anything you do, no matter how weird or illogical it seems on the surface, deep down, it has a reason. The reason is it fulfills one of these core human needs. I know it sounds overly simplistic, but having spent the last 6 years working on my own self and coaching people for hundreds of hours, I've verified it. And also discovered that understanding these needs is essential to make your life interesting again once and for all. So, what even are these 6 needs? I'll share the first 4 now and the last 2 later because they'll make much more sense in a minute. The first one is certainty. That is your need to be sure that you can avoid pain and feel pleasure in any moment. The second is uncertainty. That is your need to have new experiences, adventure, and variety in your life. The third need is love or connection. Pretty self explanatory. Humans, since both, cannot survive without love. And the fourth one is significance. That is your need to feel like you're important and valued. The real reason you're addicted to your phone is because it effortlessly meets all of these needs. You feel like shit, you watch The Office, it's funny, you get lost in the episode, it feels good. Need for certainty met. You open up YouTube Shorts, there's new videos every 60 seconds with millions of flashing effects. Need for variety met. You feel lonely, you watch a blog and it feels like you're connected to your favorite YouTuber. Need for love met. You post something on Reddit, it gets artificial internet points, upvotes. Need for significance met. But how do these needs impact how engaged or interested you feel in your life? Before I get to that, if you'd like more such psychological insights to make your life interesting again, click the link below and every week I'll send tips and frameworks that are proven to work for men. Here's how these needs impact your aliveness. If you've watched till here and are still watching, you know this subconsciously. Your phone is a cheap way to meet your needs, but a super easy one. That's why you still use it even though it makes you feel like shit. But here's where things get even more scary. There's a concept in neuroscience called dopamine tolerance. You might have heard of it. Let's say you drink a glass of wine and enjoy it. If you do that every single day, after a month, just one glass won't be as enjoyable because your brain has become tolerant or used to that. Same is the case with any type of pleasure. If you bombard yourself with hyper edited shots for 4 hours daily, eventually your dopamine tolerance increases, so that nothing gives you enough pleasure. Because here's the real dopamine from reading a book, socializing, or a walk in nature, and here's the heaps of dopamine released by 4 hours of doom scrolling. It just doesn't compare. If you want a life that actually feels interesting, you must engage in activities that give you real dopamine and fulfill your psychological needs. And for that, you need a healthy dopamine tolerance. This is the combination of psychology and neuroscience. Just doing a detox but leaving your needs unmet would be like you stop eating junk food, but you don't replace it with healthy, nutritious meals, and hence continue to feel like shit. So, here's how you combine both psychology and neuroscience to make your life interesting again. This is where the final two needs come in, which Tony cheesily calls the need of the spirit. The first four are survival needs. Humans needed them to survive in the wild, but the final two are needed to flourish. These two are growth and contribution. The degree to which you grow and contribute in areas that matter to you is the degree to which you will feel fulfilled. Not happy, but fulfilled. Try this with me. Think about the last time you felt deeply, deeply satisfied and fulfilled doing something. I'm willing to bet you were either contributing to something, someone, or growing in an area that matters to you. That's because growth and contribution is the fuel of fulfillment. So here's the entire framework that I use not only to make my life lastingly fulfilling, but also with several of my coaching clients. The first step is to grow and contribute daily. To truly feel fulfilled through growth and contribution, you must have a bunch of areas that you genuinely care about. Contributing to someone's suffering and growing a belly will probably not fulfill you. So, how do you find these areas that you care about? That actually requires years of introspection. But here's some questions to journal and introspect upon that will help you find them. What would you still do if no one saw you doing it because you love that activity so much? What would you do even if no one paid you to do it because you love doing it so much? If you knew for a fact that you will fail, what would you still do because you simply love the process and not the result? What would you do if you had infinite money and never had to worry about earning ever again? Once you know the core areas that matter to you, if you just replace 2 hours of your screen time with contribution and growth in those areas daily, trust me, that will fulfill you like nothing else. A couple of my core areas of interest are emotional wellness and playing TT. And I love growing and helping others in both of them. The second is discover the needs you meet through the phone. It's a simple step, but the most powerful one. For an entire week, every time you're about to use your phone, ask yourself which one of the four survival needs am I trying to fulfill? At the end of a stressful day, you might use it to relax and fulfill your need for certainty. Waiting in a line, you might be using your phone to kill boredom and hence gain some novelty or uncertainty. You literally cannot break your phone addiction without tracking what needs it's meeting for you. And it literally takes like 5 seconds of giving it a thought. After a week, you'll know the exact needs you're trying to meet at different times of the day through the phone. Now, all you have to do is meet them in a healthy way using these proven steps, which are the 4 C's. The first one is create. I had a client and she used to doom scroll for hours before bed, which fucked her dopamine and sleep. She hated herself for it because this in turn was causing her to lose interest in her life. She had tried everything to overcome it: app limits, detoxes, even using brute force and willpower. I suggested her to replace scrolling with something creative that she loved. In her case, it was playing guitar. And just that simple change helped her easily beat the addiction, become more fulfilled, and save her brain. But why was creation so effective? Because it's the best way to meet your need for novelty in a healthy way, which is one of the primary reasons you're addicted to phone. And there's good research to back this up. Replacing consumption with creation is much more effective to reduce screen time as opposed to the common methods my client tried. The second C is to consume, but in a healthy way. Sometimes I just want to consume and not create, and that's natural. That is when I consume stuff that furthers me towards what I wanna, the core areas that I am interested in. It can be a book on emotions or a podcast by world leading experts discussing the topic. These first two C's, they meet your need for variety with real dopamine. The third C is to calm down. If you want to beat your phone addiction, you must find healthier ways to feel better, to make yourself feel better. One of the most common reasons men scroll is to relax, that is, to meet their need for certainty. If you feel like shit, you are certain you'll feel better or at least get distracted if you scroll. And hence, tools that actually help you feel better and are good for you in the long run are absolutely non negotiable. Some of the really effective ones I suggest my clients are journaling your feelings, breathwork, and somatic polyvagal tools. I won't go deep into them in this video, but I'll be covering them soon on this channel. The final C is to connect. If you use social media or even porn to fulfill the need for love, then instead of the fake ass connection, you can literally set aside time to call a friend or even meet them in person. And here's the best news: neuroscience shows it takes 4 weeks for your brain to reset. So, even though it might be uncomfortable in the beginning, if you use these 3 steps consistently for a month, that will be your biggest step towards a life full of satisfaction and excitement, because you'll get hooked on the real dopamine through actually meeting your core human needs. So, there you have it, my entire system to permanently make your life interesting again. The reason it works over everything else is because meeting your psychological needs help you feel better immediately, which makes replacing cheap dopamine much easier. Don't forget to check the link below for more such concrete steps and frameworks for men to make their life exciting again. But the system will not help you if you're doing the 3 habits most men do that numb your joy. So click here to watch this video next, where I share exactly what those are and how you can stop.